Being an hermaphrodite, separation mode, perception, perspective, alchemy, and using everything together that you know from your own story to create your hood. Now, under what kind of hood do you live? I don't know. But from my perception and perspective, the separation of black and white or male and female is what causes most beings problems. And this is why also most beings have no connection to spirituality. Now, spirit has no sex. Spirit is not male. Spirit is not female. Spirit just is a representation of your soul, which means that's your light. Now, that does not mean that you should stay up in the higher realms and you go there and be like, oh, love and light, it's so beautiful. No, also get into the black light, the dark light, which is working with your shadows, working with the things that you do not like, and going from one extreme to the other. And of course, being aware of the yo-yo effect, because after one extreme, the other one will follow. So you better stay in a balance, which gets into your heart and your navel, your novel, your own story, and your mastery. That gets into your spine. So you better erect your spine. You better know how to strengthen your pillar, which is your spine, to manifest what you would like to experience in this earth realm, because we as humans have the capability to experience both the physical and the spiritual. And this is why it's important to appreciate both, to appreciate the physical realm, but also get into your mind, get into your thoughts, which is your spirit, which is what occurs in your mind. That's what is going to be reflected outside of you, and that's what you're going to see. So this is why I say being an hermaphrodite and working on my perception, on my perspective, to see everything as the same thing, to see everything as a part of source, as a part of the I, which is me. So that's why I also say I never go anywhere. I don't move. Only my mind space and my physical appearance, my positions are changing. So from this standpoint on, I work with my tools over here, my tools and wrenches in this reality, to have a neurochemical release in my brain to move on better on my journey. Because I don't see the reason to only sit there and observe, because I do that while I'm walking. I'm the walking dead, because I am already dead inside. And only if I can appreciate my own death, if I can appreciate my own shadow aspect, I can move on freely with abundance and with everlasting love in my heart. So this is why it is important, at least for me, to go into the death realm. And then I figure out, hey, that's only my own fears that I face in order to move on. And that's what's very powerful, because this is how you can develop your own perception of being source, of being the hermaphrodite, which looks outside of you. Because you're not longer live in that separation mode. You not longer live in that. I mean, I don't use that term because, yeah, I use it because it's part of everything. So I appreciate it. Also, this non-duality thing, which is now coming up, But the more something becomes mainstream, the more it starts to get basically away from the original sourcing aspect. So this is why I use the term hermaphrodite, which gets into Hermes Trismegistos, Trismagic ice toes. So yeah, you should get into your toes. You should maybe start to walk more bare feet to flux everything which you have inside of you better through your system, because you live in an electromagnetic universe which is caused by your thoughts and by your conscious and subconscious mind on this grid here. And through walking bare feet, you could, like a battery, flux and run everything way more better through you, because you don't isolate yourself. If you put on thick soles, it's like you put this much padding onto your feet, you put this much padding around your sole. So this is why it will not wake and shake up. But if you're going to release that, you're going to become naked in your soul. So this is how you're going to manifest, or you're going to see your subconscious mind, your reflections, way better in front of you. So let go. Doing some Paida. And this is how you could basically also heal basically every disease, because if you would understand your avatar, your body, it's like a battery. If you would charge your battery, you could run on every fuel, because a battery only knows plus and minus, and then that's what you do. You keep it flowing. And that's also basically the source of being happy, to just let everything flow through you. But if you would get into that separation mode, which then tells you, hey, wait a minute, this is not what I can tolerate. And it's only that. Now you're in that separation mode, which is necessary for this experience. Totally correct. But if you would just see it as one cycle, which keeps it running, which keeps it flowing, which keeps it fluxing through itself, guess what? Things become way more easier for me and for everybody else. So this is why I appreciate everything. And it starts, obviously, with deity. Correct, that means Godhood. So most beings live under a certain spell, and they do not even know it. They do not know that they live under a thought pattern which was created by somebody else for them. But if you tap into spirituality, if you tap into your own source, you figure out that's only your own mind constructs that you created for yourself in order to survive here. So, live under any hood you would like to live, but be aware of it. And I know I live under my own crazy mind frames. But hey, at least I'm putting something into the system what everybody else is also doing. But I think I'm doing it from my perception. That's what I do. So this gets also into alchemy and into what you put into your oven. So let's go. And what really helps with that is to redevelop your character to the point that you start to don't know where you are, basically, and then you're everywhere, because nothing makes really sense anymore. And it just becomes one thing. It's the same. I look at myself from a lot of different perceptions and perspectives. it's also about integration, 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 integration. Because I still live here, and this is why I appreciate that, death, but I also appreciate mom, which is the moment. And I am aware of my own belief systems that I created for myself out of my own naval story, out of my own mystery system, to be here, to be whatever this is. Sounds bizarre to you, right? It's just like you can't hold it. But I know that I can heal myself, and that's basically what every battery is doing in here. Every battery keeps healing itself. If you would understand that everything is source, everything is conscious reflections of you, of me. And that's why I'm so transparent to my surroundings. Yeah, and this gets also into chaos magic and into organizing myself into the tripods and into the eyes, which is the cameras, which is, it's like we observing ourselves to remind ourselves that we are one and the same thing out of different perceptions and perspectives. And many beings will not make it to the next stage because, and this is what I was saying in the very first beginning, these beings still live in the separation mode. Because this is the reason why they will never make it to the mastermind. They will never make it to the alchemical perception and perspective that they create, because it's always about the others and them. It's always about he, but not me. But hey, if you would understand that he is you, but you don't tolerate that outlook and that angle, that angel, that perception of yourself, you should probably work on that. And this is why in my in my witchcraft, in my alchemical pot, everything gets burned, everything gets thrown into my oven, and then I heat it up. I throw everything into the fire. And you know, some people might say, hey, yeah, and you look like a clown because you're wearing this and the hood, and then you're wearing glasses, you're wearing no glasses, and you're wearing sandals with jogging pants. What the fuck is that? And this is how you would break yourself, you know, to redevelop your character and see what I was just describing as just tools and rents. You don't own that shit. I own it for a certain amount of time, which is right, which is left, which is correct, which is down, under, erected. But sooner or later, this will all get burned into source, because chaos is creation. Creation equals chaos. And that's why we're here, aren't we? We are here to create. We are here to keep it burning. And this is why we have these ovens here, to create. We have hands and thumbs to make fire and to keep co-creating this realm. But be aware of the positives and the negatives. Be aware of the ups and the downs and the flowing capacity of breath. So yeah, that's how we work here. See, this is because I know how these tools function. I know how the techniques are to each and every system in here, to lifting weights, to foam rolling, to paida, to kalari paida, to martial arts. I've used it all together. And I just do certain things when they come up, and then I do the next thing. But I always be present with the thing that I do. But if you would understand these things that I'm describing from a higher perception, and you get out of time because you know you just observe time, it doesn't, like, the how you do things is not important anymore, because you just do them. You just go through this experience. Let's do some deadlifts. See, and a good healer knows what he does. I know what I do, but I also know that the things that I do for myself might not be working for you, although I am pretty sure that the things that I'm talking about and I do are very universal. But still, the main quest is, how is your mind operating? Is your mind capable of letting go of everything that you learned and to tolerate what you have presented in front of you? And if you can do that, you can adapt to it. You can see it as the same thing. And you can let go of everything that you learned and fall into what is presented for you. This is also a very good warming up exercise. Like farmers walks. And you just walk around with the weights in your hand. You know, most things are, like I said, for a neurochemical release in order to keep me going throughout the day, because this is how I would activate my mind, my strength to co-create this realm throughout the whole day. You know, like doing work on the desk, doing work on the computer, doing work in the household. You know, it's all like the same thing basically if you would observe it from a higher bird's eye perception and perspective. This is what basically what also integration is. Because I see many spiritual beings which are very beautiful, but they don't really come back into society. And I know it's tough because from a certain, if you're broken through a certain door, like if you observe what is occurring in society, it's very bizarre, it's very odd, strange. But I still do it because I also see it as part of culture, as part of the expression of consciousness, as the expression of life, because it's the same thing. You know, many beings get into nature and then they're like, oh, nature is the best, you don't come back, everything is shitty in this place. And I also am sometimes there, and I'm also sometimes like, but still, you know, if you break through another door, you would realize it's still a Maya, it's still an illusion. So it doesn't really matter if you live in the woods, if you are on this if you are in this all nature thing, or if you're in this all society thing, you still in this 3D realm, incubated with your spirit in your avatar. So you better learn to work with it. That's why I integrate. See, and this is basically also what the expression of weather is. Weather or not, here I come. You can hide. Because the sun is shining and sometimes it's raining. But you still keep on moving. As in Hermaphrodite, because I don't see the separation. See? This is why alchemy is so therapeutical. It's all is chemi. All is chemite. All is myself. See, I just fuse everything together. And it sounds maybe chaotic, it sounds maybe brilliant. In the end, it's just, see from a higher perception, what are we all doing in here? Like I speak and I do certain things and I think it might be interesting for somebody else. But from a higher perception, I actually don't care, and this is why I care. Because I just do myself, which everybody does, and everybody puts a certain pixel, a certain mind frame, a certain mosaic picture of themselves into the universal picture of humanity, which is one being. We are all one. We are all one big picture. And what we do with these mirrors, with these black mirrors, with these being so smart PH1s, we put our perception, our mind space into the higher grade. And that's how we form basically as one thing. And the developed beings, the developed, the shamans, the light bringers, and the dead pharaohs, they know, they notice. And this is why I share my perception. Oh, let's do something about it. Let's go, baby. But hey, you know what? I don't even know if you're interested in 20 minutes of my talks. See? That's how it's done. It's basically like, it's vacation for me because I express myself the way I am. I talk the way I am. I move. I live. I am in the sun, I'm in the rain, I'm in the dark, I'm in the light. I don't care, you know? That's what life is. So what could we also do? There's some hip thrusts. Some hip thrusts with a stone. Let go. Like so. Let go. See, and this here, look, this right here is a very intelligent perception and perspective, because you might think, oh, he's just moving weight from one place to another. No, this right here is a conscious movement. So, I'm working out while I'm restructuring the realm. But that's also a quest of perception and perspective. If you would understand that no matter where you put your hands, you keep organizing things, you keep destructing things. The instructor, you instruct and you destruct. And this is how you create, because you destroy. So this is why so many, like, see, from a diet perspective, everything is the same matter to me. It's not really mattering. It should be more important how you clean out, how you move, how you work with your mind, and how you balance. See? Because it's an illusion anyways. It's like, it is, for a fact. If you would get into a very clean temple, you would understand what I'm talking about. So this is why I can come back and integrate. we can do some foam rolling. We haven't done that today. So let's do just crazy foam rolling. See, and this is also what workouts should be fun, right? If you're so fucking structured, you look at your training schedule, most of your beings probably don't even move. But if you would get into a very pro athlete perception, you would do like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do this. That's great. You programmed your mind to that and you start to chase the rabbit down the hole, which means you get into this and you get to that. It's like, oh, you get deeper, dig deeper, dig deeper, dig deeper. But what do you chase? This trophy in the end? You could probably sip some Shivambukalpa out of your trophy, and that's what you then should do if you get the trophy. That's why it's golden. That's what alchemy is. But then you start to realize, hey, you live here for fun. You live here for the expression of self. You live here to co-create. And that's why you do this, you do that, and you do this and that only for the mind. See, this is why now I'm doing this here. Let's roll some shins. See, and I know that my body is one piece, so basically I do this here now for my mind, for the neurochemicals in my brain. Well, the hermaphrodites. The hermaphrodites. Let's squat it. But I also know that many beings, you could only do basically what I do. That also gets into, these high, shocking movements for the nervous system. You could only do that, for example, like that's also what CrossFit is. If you would master the movement, the move mind, with one repetition techniques. So that means you get into the squat, for example, and now we do the perfect squat. Right? And this was probably 80% of the perfect technique that I could possibly do. But see, I could also construct under chaos. And that's the point in here. If I would focus more on the technique aspect, I could also teach you that. But right here, right now, it's more about the flowing, hermaphrodite sourcing, yin and yang, black and white, gray brain matter aspect, the mastermind. So yeah, we could do some animal movements from Kalari Payat, and I think we're pretty much done. So let's go. and some groundwork. Let's do the complete thing. So once you get started with it, you just do it. Let's go. And for the fun, you know, so and for the discipline, some 1 repetition technique, movements, jab, punch, hook, hook, uppercut, uppercut, liver shot. Front kick, low kick, and knee. And you know, you also do that, of course, for the mind, for the nervous system. In 13 years of martial arts, I never had an argument on the streets, and that's due to the fact that I was not seeking it. You'd have to know what you want to do and what you do not want to do. And then you realize it's a whole. And some back kicks. And obviously some defense. And you're done. Right? And that's why you could do 1 repetition, and if you would master that technique, it doesn't matter how your body appearance is, because you focus on the technique. And what you focus on, that's what it will become. If you would focus on, you know, like emptying yourself out, you will not come very far with that. I mean, maybe you would, I don't know. But from my perception, it's way more conscious, subconscious, intelligent to work with your perfect technique over time, and to master the technique, and to do lightweight movements, both perfect technique, and then you can go up. So, this movement is also very great. Like, here. See, and I have to, oh, come on. Everybody keeps throwing their shits in here. See? It's like, oh, you smoke? I'm like, I would, but you would not understand. It's still all the same thing. So in these humble words, once again, being a hermaphrodite, work on my perception and perspective, as seeing everything as source, seeing everything as the same thing, seeing myself from different outlooks and perceptions as myself, as the same thing. So this is how you would also work on your empathy, on your feelings, on your emotions, on your capacity to understand and to overstand, but also to understand, which means to go to the underworld, to the demons, to the shadow aspects. See under, inner, and overstand things, and then see everything as one gigantic Ouroboros, as one gigantic whole, as one holy trinity, as one holistic art, which comes out of your own pupil, which is your whole, which is black. So you lack something, but basically not, because you are it. your IT. So these some words. Thank you. Truthfulness, compassion, and tolerance. I'm out here. Done.